Phil Hellmuth is looking down at pocket fours. Pre-flop begins with a sequence that illustrates exactly why Phil Hellmuth is the most frustrating player in the world to play against. Peter Jetten opens the action to 2000 with ace-queen, a standard aggression from a young pro. Amit Makija, sitting with pocket kings, wakes up with a monster and puts in a textbook 3-bet to 6000. In a GTO world, the action should end here for most marginal hands, but Hellmuth, holding pocket fours in the small blind, decides to cold call the 3-bet. This is a move that math-heavy players despise. He is playing set or fold, out of position against a range that crushes him.
You might be the tightest player at the table, Lucky. What? I thought you'd be the most aggressive.
The best hand I had all night was 2 9s.
This is like Bizarro poker, man.
Jetten calls.
You're playing like Phil Hellmuth, and Phil Hellmuth's playing like you. I don't know what's going on there.
The flop falls low and connected texture that misses the pre-flop aggressor's high card range, but connects dangerously with the type of garbage hands Phil is known to defend. Here, Hellmuth deviates from standard strategy entirely. Instead of checking to the aggressor, he leads with a donk bet for 10,500. This bet is psychological warfare. He is effectively asking Makija, do you have an overpair, and are you willing to lose chips to find out if I have a set? Holding the kings, he cannot fold, but he also cannot raise without isolating himself against a set of 7s or 5s. The turn brings the 2, a card that adds significant equity to Phil's hand. He now holds a pair of 4s and an open-ended straight draw, needing an ace or a 6 to make a straight. Phil switches gears and checks, likely sensing that Makija is ready to fire. Feeling his kings are still ahead of a random pair or a draw, he bets 24,500 for value and protection. Phil's call here is loose. He is chasing a draw on a board where he could already be drawing dead to a set, but his stubbornness and perhaps a sense that the poker gods are with him keeps him in the hand. The river is the ace, the ultimate money card for Hellmuth. The dynamic shifts violently. Phil, having backed into the nuts, leads out for a massive
48.
From Makija's perspective, this is a nightmare. The ace is a scare card and connects with the board's runout. Furthermore, Phil's line lead flop, check call turn, lead river, is incredibly strong.
Only Phil Hellmuth can look into your soul to know if you have it.
It represents a hand that was trapping on the turn and is now extracting maximum value. Makija looks at his pocket kings, which have now been downgraded to a mere bluff catcher.
Oh, Phil. It's a close spot.
He's still trying to pick something up off of Phil.
All right, Phil. You can show me a bluff.
AMAC folds.
If he was bluffing, he'd be smiling right now. So, believe me, he would love to show you that bluff.
Daniel Negreanu has pocket kings.
Raises.
Queen high.
Queen high?
He opens the pot to $1,200, a classic early position flex that targets the blinds and sets up a pot he can steer in position. Phil Hellmuth, smooth, calls, choosing pot control and range protection over a thin 3-bet. Eugene Kachalov comes along as well with ace-9, content to realize in position and take a multi-way flop against 2 ranges that can play face-up on ace-high textures. Kachalov checks the ace-high flop, protecting a top-pair hand with a middling kicker and letting the action declare itself. Negreanu checks behind. Pocket kings hate attacking into 2 players on an ace board, and the slowdown keeps weaker hands and bluffs alive while controlling the pot. Hellmuth takes the invitation and fires $1,200, a small stab meant to fold out nothing hands and price set against exactly these cautious checks. Kachalov calls, signaling he is not afraid of a little heat with top pair. Negreanu overcalls, a cagey line that keeps both ranges uncapped and disguises the true strength of kings by wearing the same hoodie as ace-X.
You too, Daniel?
Yeah.
My God.
You didn't expect 2 calls,
No,
right?
I
Just one.
was expecting 1 call.
No.
All 3 check the turn after the 8 rolls off. That card changes little. Kachalov sees no need to inflate with his kicker problem. Hellmuth's one-and-done bluff correctly shuts down into 2 sticky ranges, and Negreanu continues the sandbag, preserving the option to spring value or bluff catch on rivered scare cards. The river drops the king of clubs and the trap wakes up. Kachelov leads $4,200. Thin value that hopes to get paid by worse aces and denies a free showdown to stubborn pairs. Negreanu answers with a raise to $14,200, selling a story consistent with a slow-played monster or a patient ace that improved, and crucially targeting the very hand Kachelov is value betting.
I think Phil's Hollywooding a bit here since he bet out on the flop.
Hellmuth gets out of the way, his earlier poke having run its course. Faced with a credible, disciplined raise from a player who never overbets his bluffs, Kachelov has to reassess whether Ace-9 is really a cash-out hand or a tip jar.
And Eugene folds.
I had at least that.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at King-10 offsuit.
So I guess we'll be seeing you after you win the NAPT passport.
Yes.
Like, seems like a lock right now.
You're probably going to end up around 400,000 is my guess.
That, you know what, now that would be a nice payday. That would be acceptable.
Preflop initiates a battle between two generations of poker excellence. Negreanu, the master of small ball and post-flop maneuvering, opens the action to 1,200 with King-10 suited. It is a standard open for Negreanu, designed to play a wide variety of boards and out-navigate opponents later in the hand. Scott Seaver, a representative of the math-heavy, aggressive school of poker, looks down at King-Jack offsuit. From a theoretical standpoint, Seaver has a slight advantage here. His hand dominates Negreanu's range, particularly the exact hand Negreanu is holding. However, Seaver chooses to flat call rather than 3-bet.
Have you been watching?
Tony folds, up to Viffer.
Wow. I would never fold this hand, but the new and improved Daniel?
Folds.
The new Daniel. There's a new version.
3.0.
Yeah. Just wait till I lose.
By just calling, he keeps Negreanu's range wide and uses his position to control the size of the pot, avoiding a scenario where he isolates himself against a stronger hand like Ace-King or a big pocket pair. True to his aggressive nature, Negreanu fires a continuation bet of 2,000. He is telling a story that he holds a hand like Ace-Queen or a set, trying to deny equity to hands exactly like Seaver's. Scott goes nowhere. He has a piece of the board and position on the opener. The turn brings the ace, a miracle card for Negreanu. He leads out for 6,200, betting for value with the current nuts. Seaver, staring at third pair and possible gut shot straight, decides to just smooth call. Raising here might balloon the pot and isolate Seaver against stronger hands. By calling, Seaver keeps the pot manageable and can make a decision when he sees whether the river is favorable to him or not. The river card is the 10, and it is the great equalizer. Here, Negreanu makes a signature move. Checking is a deceptive play designed to induce a bluff or a value bet from a worse hand, like 2-pair or a set of queens. He is hoping Seaver interprets the check as weakness or a give up. Seaver, seeing the check, decides to go for thin value. Negreanu, having trapped his opponent, snaps it off. The showdown reveals the irony.
Had you for a minute.
Yeah.
Hard to hold off Scott Seaver.
Yeah, King Jack. I'm getting at least half.
Did he say King Jack or
Hellmuth is looking down on pocket kings. Pre-flop, this is a classic clash between raw power and disguised strength. Tony G opens light, Mercier flats on the button with pocket 3s, and Hellmuth in the blind wakes up with kings.
Raise pot.
His raise to 8,600 is a big, old-school squeeze sizing that tries to punish Tony's wide open and isolate one player. When Tony gets out of the way and
You had a couple of hundred on and I'll play every time pre-flop. Why don't you add some more money on, Phil? I'll give you a flip every time then. See what sort of a genius you are then.
Mercier calls, the dynamic is already set. Phil has defined his range as extremely strong, while Jason has a capped, small pair suited connector, looking range that wants to see flops and play poker post-flop. The flop comes down a nightmare texture for Phil, 9, Queen, 3, all clubs. Mercier absolutely smashes it with bottom set on a monotone board, while Phil's overpair is in danger of being dead against any made flush or set. The turn pairs the queen, giving Mercier a full house and freezing a lot of Phil's perceived flushes. Jason checks again, continuing the trap. Now Phil feels safer. Paired boards mean fewer flushes and more chance his overpair is best. so he fires 7,000 as a delayed c-bet that targets exactly hands like tens, jacks, or a bare club. Mercier springs the trap with a raise. That line screams polarized, either a queen, a big flush, or a bluff. With kings and the king of clubs, Phil decides to hang on and call, planning to reevaluate rivers. The river brings a fourth club, completing every possible flush and leaving full houses at the absolute top. From Mercier's seat, this is perfect. The story he has told of a strong queen or big flush is still completely consistent, and his actual hand, a full house, comfortably beats both. He jams, ripping in the rest of his stack.
Come on, what in the heck is going on here? This is ridiculous. This is what happens to me when I play in these frickin' cash games.
Now you're back to yourself. That's better.
I couldn't hold it in.
I was worried I lost you.
God, this is so brutal.
Jason's betting big here, having a pretty good idea Phil's got a premium hand.
How much is it?
67.9. Phil folds.
That's a one we gotta show.
Phil gets away from it and saves himself almost 70 grand.
Felt like a sick bluff, sir. Sick. Or pocket nines. Either or.
God, that's so brutal. Could have been worse. If I bet the flop, I just ship it with him.
Who wants to?
Tony G is looking down on King 4 suited. Pre-flop, this pot starts out as a fairly standard multi-way situation that quietly plants the seeds for a brutal cooler. Harlow opens with ace-9, Antonio peels in position with king-jack, and Tony G overcalls with king 4 suited. From Tony's side, this is loose but very on-brand. He is in there to play pots, especially deep stacked and in position on an amateur opener. Behind them, the blinds come along, and you get exactly the kind of bloated, almost family pot where dominated kings and weird suited holdings collide.
Here he comes. You've been quiet, Phil. Preserving your lead.
Not really. I check.
The flop texture massively favors the kind of speculative, wide calling range Tony brought to the pot. He flops top and bottom 2 pair, while Antonio hits what looks like a very strong top pair with king-jack. After Hellmuth and Harlow check, Antonio's continuation bet for 4,200 into the field is completely logical. He charges draws, gets value from worse kings and tens, and represents the strong pre-flop range he had by flatting the raise in position. Tony's raise to 15,000 is the key inflection point. With 2 pair on a coordinated board, he wants to punish exactly hands like Antonio's, forcing them to pay a premium to continue. The raise size is big enough to thin the field and make life uncomfortable for single-pair hands, but not so huge that it blows them off. Hellmuth and Harlow correctly get out of the way. Antonio, holding top pair with a strong kicker and some backdoor straight equity, is never folding to a single raise and makes the call, likely putting Tony on king 10, a bluff, or some kind of combo draw.
What do you have left?
Antonio checks.
You want exact count?
No, it's fine.
And Tony's decision to check back is deceptively strong. With 2 pair on a now even scarier board, betting again would inflate the pot against a range that has improved to many strong 1 pair plus draw hands. The river ends the hand in one swing. It gives Tony a full house, kings full of 4s, and upgrades Antonio from a strong but beatable top pair to trip kings with a big kicker. After checking twice, Antonio now leads 20,000. This is a classic value bet sizing, targeting exactly the kind of hands he thinks Tony might have slow played, queen 10 or maybe a stubborn king 9 that check turn for pot control. Tony's response is a cold-blooded shove, an enormous raise over the river stab that polarizes his range to absolute monsters or air. In theory, that sizing should make Antonio very suspicious. There are not that many natural bluffs that take this line, and the full house region is heavily concentrated in Tony's loose pre-flop range. But in practice, when you have trip kings with a strong kicker, have seen your opponent check back a dangerous turn, and the pot is already large, folding feels almost impossible.
What the hell did you check the turn with, Tony? All right. Call.
Antonio calls all in and sees the bad news.
I see.
Tony wins a pot of 150 grand.
Chips? The worst.
Vanessa Russo is looking down on pocket aces. Pre-flop, this looks like a routine spot that secretly sets Vanessa up for maximum pain. She opens to 1,000 with aces, the dream starting hand, and gets flatted by Lex on the button with king 4 of clubs. Suited king in position versus a single raise is completely standard for him. He is not trying to make a monster. He is trying to play pots and lean on people post-flop. What Vanessa sees is a competent pro calling wide on the button. What she does not see is that this exact hand shape is built to crack an overpair on a low-paired board.
Right here? This is the weird spot?
No, that hand's the weird spot.
The flop comes king 4-3. For ranges, this is a disaster for Vanessa and a celebration for Lex. She still has the overpair advantage in theory, but in practice his flatting range includes all the suited king X and random sets. He decides not to get fancy and leads 2,500, a small, confident attack that says, "I connected." With top and bottom pair, he is miles ahead of all her one-pair hands, yet still vulnerable to overpairs and bigger kings, so betting to define the hand and start building a pot is perfect. The turn brings the queen, which is one of those cards that helps the aggressor's story more than it helps anyone's actual hand. From Vanessa's perspective, it is a brick. From Lex's seat, it is time to defend from the possible king-queen. When he fires 7,700, he is saying, "I still have it and this board keeps getting better for me." With top and bottom pair, he is now comfortably ahead of every overpair. The only real disasters are sets or slow-played king-queen. Vanessa again just calls. That second call is very telling. She is no longer trying to protect aces. She is explicitly putting Lex on a king or a bluff and deciding to ride the hand down as a bluff catcher. The river pairs the 3, and that seemingly harmless card quietly locks in the cooler. Lex's kings and 4s are now counterfeited. When he bets 18,400 for the third time, the line is completely coherent.
Oh, sick river. Unbelievable.
Pretty good with these rivers with aces.
Tony G is looking down at 5-4 offsuit.
How does it go? Today is a good day.
Oh yeah, that's them with the Ice Cube song?
Yeah.
Preflop sets the stage for a classic clash between mathematical precision and pure chaotic feel. Scott Seaver opens the action to 1,200 with pocket queens. It is a premium hand that demands value. However, waiting in the wings is Tony G, a player who thrives on making his opponents uncomfortable with unorthodox holdings. Tony looks down at 5-4 suited.
Played a little ball, messed around, and got a triple-double.
A hand most players would muck against an early position raise and decides to make the call. He is looking to crack a big pair or outplay Seaver on a low board.
What did I just do there with my brain? Change my mind 4 times?
That seems no good. Where's the confidence?
To the flop.
The flop comes a texture that appears safe for Seaver, but secretly connects with Tony's garbage hand. Seaver is trying to start the trap by inducing a bluff. Tony G is happy to oblige, firing 4,000 into the pot. Cannon, having missed completely, gets out of the way. Seaver, holding the overpair, makes the call. He is comfortably ahead of Tony's range, but by just calling, he allows Tony to see another card.
Here we go.
The turn card is the queen, a card that sends the hand into the stratosphere. By checking the turn, Seaver gives Tony a free roll to the river. He fails to charge the draw, assuming his set is invincible. The river is the ace, the most disastrous card in the deck for Scott Seaver. While it looks like a safe card that might have given an opponent top pair, Tony G, realizing he has backed into the nuts, fires a value bet of 10,000. Seaver now springs the trap he has been building since the flop. He check raises to 36,000, confident that his set of queens is the winner. He expects Tony to call with a worse set or 2 pair. When Tony G makes the call, the reality sinks in.
If it didn't come a flush, I would have got it all in. I mean, that's how sick is that?
How sick is that? How unlucky are you?
It was sick for one of them. Tony G happy to pick up that.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on 8-6 suited. Calacanis opens to $1,200 with pocket 7s. That raise is standard from middle position. It folds out trash and plays well post-flop. Negreanu flats with 8-6 of diamonds. He is not calling to hit a pair. He is buying position, playability, and high equity boards. This texture massively improves the caller's range relative to the raiser. The pre-flop opener still has all the overpairs, but the callers capture the lion's share of the strong draws and 2-pair straight candidates. Negreanu's exact hand is near perfect. He leads $2,500 into 2 opponents, a small but purposeful stab that pressures ace-high and pocket 8s through 10s, while charging draws that he blocks and dominates.
Got a little some of that.
This card flips equity on its head. Kalecani spikes a set, but Negreanu's straight also arrives. Importantly, the new straight is very available from the caller's range. Any 6 often peels the flop, so Kalekanis's set is strong but not invulnerable. Negreanu bets $7,000. That sizing accomplishes 2 things. First, it prints value immediately against 1-pair overpairs that do not believe, and against sets that fear raising into a straight. Second, it continues to charge diamond draws that are now drawing thin versus a made straight. From a range standpoint, the flat is telling. He is unlikely to have an overpair without redraws to a full house that wants protection. The board pairs. Full houses become possible and, in fact, Kalekanis improves from a set to 7s full of 4s. Negreanu's straight loses equity versus the portion of Kalekanis's range that slow played the turn with boats in mind. But many worse hands still exist.
This is reminiscent of a typical hand for Daniel Negreanu. Let's have the nuts with a redraw and see what happens. Let's pair the board, yeah. God, really? No, gotta be kidding me.
Guess that means you don't have the Jack-9 this time.
No, I had the nuts with a redraw. What'd you make it? How much?
35 more. Only 35 more.
Only 35 more. Why?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
What did you have? Like, you don't have a set, right? Because you would have raised me.
Yeah, I would have raised it the set. I could have flopped a straight.
Could have flopped straight. Okay, I can beat that. Whew.
I could be on a flush draw. Could be busted.
Yeah, that's true too. 4s and 5s. No, I think you raised me.
Could have quads.
Yeah, you could have that too.
Could have aces and just be overplaying them.
I was gonna fold for sure, and now I'm thinking about calling you. So you're doing a good job. If that's what you want.
Now I'm gonna be quiet and pretend that's not what I want. Tip the dealer $1,000. I will show it to you. You have to split it with the other dealer.
Oh, guarantee.
That's a good deal.
So, $1,000. You know what I have. You don't have to live and wait till the end of the.
There's the call.
Sorry, not in the hand.
He called it. 7s.
Tedeschi kicks things off with pocket queens. He is raised to 36,000, but he's up against McAllister, whose cards we don't know yet.
Philip McAllister calls out of a stack of 1.74 million.
Yeah, that's a lot of dimp.
Rabah comes in from the big blind, so a 3-way to the flop.
Jaya Rabah.
And that flop is Queen 8-4 with 2 clubs. Looks like Rabah has checked to the razor.
Makes sense.
Tedeschi's pocket queens just flopped top set on a pretty dry board. It's a dream scenario for him. But McAllister and Rabah could easily have flush or straight draws since they just called pre-flop. So he's probably going to look for a value bet here.
It's been checked to McAllister. And I've been impressed by what we've seen from this guy today.
Pose. Really? It supposedly means you're comfortable. A lot of poker players sit like that.
So the bet from McAllister is 48K.
Rabah doesn't look like he's gonna fold here. We don't know if he's drawing or if he actually has a piece of the board. But after Tedeschi checked on the flop, he might raise and try to scare him off.
Rabah calls. Monsieur Tedeschi.
I think it's Paul Tedeschi, actually.
Tedeschi's in an interesting spot here. He's confident his hand is strong, but Rabah's call indicates some kind of draw or a strong pair. He's probably wondering if Rabah's just trying to see the turn cheaply or if he's setting up a move. It's a tricky decision. Does he bet for value or does he just call and allow these 2 bad boys to potentially bluff on the turn?
That's a call as well. We're still 3-way as we go to the turn. Yeah, Jack of Hearts on the turn. Rabah checks. And I think that was a check from Tedeschi, yep.
He's gone from the 1 arm on 1 shoulder to 2 arms on 2 shoulders. The old water slide pose.
Philip McAllister Bets again, 136,000.
This could be a potentially huge pot.
Especially as it looks like he's calling. He's raised all in. McAllister just called. He flats the all in. But look at the price he's getting.
Cool. Okay, well.
Does call.
No one has a pot-sized bet left behind now.
Good point.
The river brings the ace of hearts and Raba's looking down at the board, still not knowing the strength of Tedeschi's hand. He could be holding a decent pair or even a straight, but the ace definitely changes the dynamic. Does he believe Tedeschi has a hand like two pair, or is he worried about a potential set or a straight? The ace might just be the card Raba needs to bluff at this pot and try to steal it.
Do these two just check it down? No, they don't. He bets 300.
Actually competing for the main pot of 1.4 million. And now, McAllister moves all in.
How does everyone have a hand here?
I have no idea. Baffling the way this hand is played out. That's a call.
No, it's a fold.
Yes.
And he likes what he sees.
No, King 10 clubs.
King 10 of hearts for a royal flush.
It is a royal, and look at that, Tedeschi did have a set of queens. What a terrible, disgusting run out for what is going to be the best hand almost always.
Phil Lack is looking down at ace-jack offsuit. Pre-flop, action begins with a unique dynamic that instantly inflates the stakes. A double straddle is on. This forces the players to play for a bloated pot before a single card is dealt, widening ranges and encouraging loose aggression. Phil Lack, known for his tight play, finds ace-jack of diamonds. In this lineup, this is a premium holding, yet Lack decides to just flat call the straddle rather than raising to isolate. This passive play brings Perkins along with 10-3 offsuit, a hand that has no business being in the pot, but Perkins loves to splash around. The result is a three-way pot where ranges are wide, undefined, and dangerous. The flop falls a texture that hits the high card heavy ranges of the callers. Perkins checks his air, and the action falls to Williams. Despite having completely missed the board with only king high, Williams decides to represent the queen.
I wasn't gonna call. I figure if I call, then you try and make a move. Then you guys crash into each other. One of you gets wounded. Then I'm gonna get you.
Folds.
I like it. Planning for the future.
Planning. One of you guys are gonna get wounded.
The turn brings the jack, a card that drastically shifts the power balance. Lack has now improved to trips, giving him a stranglehold on the hand. Williams, unaware that he is drawing dead, decides to tell a convincing story. He fires a second barrel of 14,500. This is the critical strategic error. By firing again, Williams is polarizing his range to either a strong queen or a complete bluff. He is trying to fold out a hand exactly like the one Lack used to have, a weak pair or a floating 7. The river is the 4, a complete brick that changes nothing. Williams, having fired 2 shells and received 2 calls, finally hits the brakes.
All in.
Williams folds.
9-10.
Man, Joe, I'm telling you, you gotta have one of these rushes. It feels electric. It's better than cruising over a cliff. I mean, pre-hit the earth. The feeling of adrenaline, the rush.
Selbst, sitting in the big blind, looks down at a pair of jacks, a strong but tricky hand in this scenario. Facing a raise and a 3-bet, she opts to flat call rather than 4-bet. While a 4-bet would help narrow the field and define her opponent's ranges, it could also bloat the pot and force her into tough post-flop spots if she's up against a hand like queens, kings, or aces. Her flat call allows her to control the pot size while disguising her hand strength, keeping her range wide enough to include potential traps. The flop lands Queen 2 Jack, and Selbst couldn't have asked for better. Her pair of jacks connects perfectly, giving her middle set and a commanding lead in the hand. Chen, holding ace-queen suited, flops top pair with backdoor flush and straight draws, making his hand strong but significantly vulnerable to Selbst's concealed strength. Selbst leads out with 80,000 bet, a sizing that achieves multiple goals. It builds the pot while extracting value from weaker hands like top pair or speculative holdings with equity. Importantly, her bet disguises her hand's full strength. Opponents may interpret it as a standard value bet or even a semi-bluff. Chen, with top pair and additional equity from his backdoor draws, decides to call. From his perspective, Selbst's range from the big blind could include hands like king-queen, queen-jack, or even bluffs, making a fold too conservative. The turn changes the dynamics of the hand with the 8 of diamonds, creating a more draw-heavy board. Selbst still holds the lead with her set of jacks, but the new card introduces a flush draw and enhances the straight possibilities. She increases the pressure with a bet of 150,000. This bet is designed to charge draws like the nut flush and extract further value from hands like Chen's top pair. While the sizing is solid, Selbst may have missed an opportunity to go larger, putting Chen to an even tougher decision. Chen's ace-queen suited improves with the nut flush draw, making his hand significantly stronger in terms of potential equity. He calls the 150,000, which is the correct decision based on the pot odds and his outs to the nut flush. By calling, Chen keeps the pot manageable while preserving his chance to improve on the river. The river delivers the 7, completing Chen's nut flush with ace-queen suited and spelling disaster for Selbst. Unaware of Chen's exact holding but recognizing her set is still vulnerable, Selbst decides to shove all in. However, this move is a misstep. The shove assumes Chen might fold marginal holdings, but his turn call strongly represents a flush, especially the nut flush. A smaller bet, or even a cautious check, could have limited Selbst's losses given the dangerous board texture. Chen barely needs to think. With the nuts, his call is automatic. There's no possible hand on this board that can beat him. He confidently flips over his cards, claiming the massive pot, and leaving Selbst regretting her river shove. The table is 4-way after Tony G opens, and Viffer, Negreanu, and Scott Seiver all come along. That matters because equities flatten in multi-way pots. Single pair hands lose value while nutted, and draw-heavy holdings gain. Tony G's range from early position in this lineup still contains suited connectors.
There's room for everyone to keep improving.
I mean, the way you guys all play, there's certainly tons of room.
Yeah.
Scott calls.
I'm gonna go with an old Hellmuth trick. Watch this, gentlemen. Check in the dark. How do you fade that? Seriously, check in the dark. I don't even want to see what's coming.
Checking through is revealing. On this texture, the pre-flop raiser has a lot of one pair and gut shot combinations that dislike being raised by 3 players.
See how that worked? Because if I wouldn't have done that, they would have been more scared. My turn, right?
Daniel's still open-ended.
Did you qualify?
Yes, I've qualified pretty comfortably at this point. Question is, how much do I want to put in there?
You checked.
No, I'm not. I'm not, for sure.
You're not checking?
Yeah. If you're folding any bet, you can just do that now. I'm going to put in...
The turn is the 7 of spades, a huge card for Tony G's side of the range, and a bad one for capped checkbacks. Negreanu leads $3,600 into the field, a small sizing that targets folds from the Broadway airballs and denies equity to Queen 9, 9-8, and the club draws. Scott's call with Queen Jack keeps dominated queens in, but the raise from Tony G to $14,000 is the pivotal data point. After a street of passivity, that raise is heavily weighted to value.
If I win the pot, I'll give you your money back.
Negreanu's call with King-Queen looks ambitious only if you ignore blocker logic. He removes the queen that completes Tony G's higher straight and retains outs to the ace or 9 to make his own. Scott correctly recognizes he's in kicker jail and releases.
Wow, that was a big sweat.
Took a long time. That speech really got him.
He made a big laydown just now.
The river is the 9 of diamonds. Range-wise, it's a dagger for Tony G. His made straight from the turn remains a straight, but Negreanu's King-Queen now upgrades to the higher straight. When Negreanu fires $35,000, the story is polarized between exactly that high straight and bluffs that bricked clubs or random Queen X that tried to push Tony G off a one-pair hand.
Are you also offering my 4,800 back if you...
Tony calls and Daniel wins a $100,000 pot.
I had the nuts on the turn. Wow, well done.
Phil Hellmuth is looking down on ace-9 offsuit.
Yeah, doing an add-on, if no one objects.
No, of course.
I don't object.
Add on for as much as you like. Up to 500,000.
Pre-flop. This is a perfect example of how one aggressive decision can pull 3 other players into a very volatile pot. Brunson opens with 6-5 suited, a classic loose raise that keeps the game flowing and his range wide.
I call.
Hellmuth wakes up with ace-9 offsuit and chooses a big 3-bet to $12,600. That sizing is doing a lot of work. He wants to isolate the opener, pick up the dead money, and use position plus skill edge rather than pure cards. The problem is the hand itself. Ace-9 offsuit looks pretty, but in a re-raised pot, it is in terrible shape against any calling range that includes better aces, big pairs, and suited Broadway.
I raised the pot.
When Wiggins looks down at pocket kings behind all of this, he is in a dream spot and decides just to call. That flat call is very tempting. He keeps all the weaker hands in, disguises his strength, and gives himself a chance to win a huge pot without ever having to face a 4-bet, but it also invites the players behind to come along with speculative holdings.
12-6.
Yep.
Call.
We have some cannon action over here.
And Brunson, getting an excellent price in closing the action, comes along as well.
I know Tony's going to call it, so I might as well too.
Yeah. I love these big pots.
What a sick hand this is. 4 ways.
I'm not even going anyway next pot, so it's like a free roll for me.
By the time the dealer spreads the flop, Hellmuth's isolation 3-bet has turned into a 4-way pot where his dominated Ace-9 has to navigate 2 deep stacks and one of the strongest starting hands in poker. The flop comes 9-10-9, and the board instantly rewrites everyone's expectations.
That flop looks like you, doesn't it?
No, Phil, I look like me.
17,000.
Phil bets 17,000.
If you look like me, why you bet so much?
Hellmuth, who started the hand with the most questionable value hand, suddenly finds himself holding trips with top kicker. From his point of view, this is about as good as it gets. He blocks full houses with his Ace-9, beats every overpair, and is way ahead of any 10x that peeled pre-flop.
36,000.
I love you, Ernest.
I tried again, well, I just can't.
Doyle folds.
I was gonna race. I'm so sick.
Tony G's out.
Wow. This is almost certainly disaster for our loose cannon.
200,000.
What are you going to do if I move in? You going to call?
Phil, of course I have no choice but to, my brother.
You got aces or kings or something, or what?
Man, if I had aces or kings, man, I'd be the man right now, wouldn't I?
Well, I don't think I have a choice here. This is so sick. All right, I guess I'm all in.
I call. Kings.
I got 3 9s.
You gotta be kidding me. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah,
What were you slow rolling him for?
Here, man.
Maybe at 10 full. I mean, he was so happy.
That was so unreal.
That was torture.
I didn't mean to slow roll. Hold on. How many times you want to deal it?
Yep.
You want to deal it 4 times? No, that's not.
When
a
you
slow
know
roll.
he's gonna call because he says it.
You know,
and
Phil Lock, why don't you just stay out of it? Why don't you stay out of it?
Because I'm right here and I
because
feel bad.
you've been so far out of line to me, and every time we've played, and I'm just sick of it. So why don't you just mind your business?
12,600.
But he's right. It was a pretty sick slow roll.
I'm sorry, because I haven't done anything like that in my whole life.
Were you folding? I can't get away from this. The whole speech. The guy's already in.
He's already got 80%
Let
of
Joel
it.
decide.
4 times?
Yeah, it gives you a better chance to
Hey,
win.
damn sure do. Cool.
A jack of hearts.
Queen. Yeah, queen, king.
The river, an ace of diamonds. Round 1 goes to Hellmuth. The turn, a king.
There we go. Full house. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Get me down.
The river's a 3.
15% dog. Ernest has won the second pot.
So that's cool. I'm feeling good right now. Well,
A 7 of spades.
Everybody's rooting for a spade.
It is a spade.
damn.
Spade up 2-1. That's the loose cannon. He's up 2-1.
Why did you go for 4 times? You win.
A queen on the turn.
Jack. There's a jack.
The final river card. It's a king.
That's real. He hit 3 out of 4. He hit 3 out of 4. That's with the worst hand. Why is everyone so happy except Phil? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Huh?
Vanessa Russo is looking down at Ace-10 suited.
Good at metagaming. Everybody thinks he's completely crazy.
Scott Seaver, always looking to apply pressure, opens the pot to 1,600 with Ace-6 offsuit. It is a loose open, typical of Seaver's wide range in late position, designed to steal the blinds or outplay opponents post-flop. Russo wakes up with a hand that dominates Seaver's holding. However, Rather than 3-betting to isolate and define ranges, she chooses to flat call. This passive line is deceptive. She keeps Seaver's range wide and invites him to bluff into a hand that is statistically likely to be ahead. The flop falls a connected texture that misses the high card ranges of both players but creates immediate tension. Here, Russo deviates from standard strategy. Instead of checking to the pre-flop raiser, she leads out with a donk bet. This is a probing bet designed to seize the initiative and define where she stands. The turn brings the 7, a card that drastically increases Seaver's equity. He now holds an open-ended straight draw, meaning any 3 or 8 will give him a straight. Russo, sensing that the board is getting wetter and more dangerous, decides to ramp up the aggression. She fires a substantial bet of 7,000. Seaver, now holding massive equity with his draw and his ace out, makes the easy call. The pot is building rapidly, and both players are stubbornly holding on to hands that are technically just ace high. The river is the 3, the card that creates absolute chaos. It gives Russo a wheel straight, but also completes Seaver, whose is higher. She checks, fully expecting the hand to go to a showdown where they split the money. However, Seaver holds the 6, which connects with the board to make a higher straight. Recognizing that Russo likely views this as a split pot, Seaver bets 12,000 for thin value.
6 high straight.
Aw.
Or 7, but yeah.
Yeah, either one.
Phil Lack is looking down at ace-10 offsuit.
How much you have, Phil, today? 100?
He's the man, right? I'll count it in a second. After this hand, I'll count it.
It's okay, Phil. I don't care that much. I know you're dying to count it anyway.
Pre-flop sets the stage for an intense battle between a Hollywood director and a poker eccentric. Cassavetes raises to 2,000 with queens. In a full ring game, this is a premium monster, but in a battle of the blinds, it is an absolute sledgehammer. He is looking to extract maximum value from the big blind. Phil Lack, holding ace-10 offsuit, finds himself in a mandatory defense spot. While ace-10 can be a trouble hand that wins small pots and loses big ones, folding an ace to a single raise in a heads-up scenario is simply too tight. The flop falls a Broadway-heavy texture that creates an immediate stalemate. The turn is the 6. Lack decides the free pass is over. This is a classic probe bet. Lack is testing the waters, representing a weak king. Cassavetes is not going anywhere. He views Lack's bet as a stab at a pot nobody seemed to want. The river is the queen, the most dramatic card in the deck. It hits Cassavetes perfectly, improving him to a set of queens. He believes he has just spiked a monster that will win a healthy pot. Unfortunately,
24,200.
I call.
And Nick Cassavetes runs worse than the car in the driveway of every horror movie.
I mean, how good can one fish run? Huh? Is that sick or what?
Friedman is looking down at king-queen offsuit.
Jared, where are you from?
LA.
LA?
Yeah, how about you?
I live here.
Cool.
I'm from far away.
Antonio moved to California from Iran at the age of 9.
I saw your card, Antonio.
Did you really?
Yeah.
From over there?
Not as much of a magician as you think.
Wow. I was gonna open for a little raise
Good
there.
one. I'm gonna start doing that in the big
Middle
blind.
black, middle
Hey,
black.
I saw your card.
I cannot believe you saw my card from over there. That's strong.
Pralad, king, queen.
He bluffed you right out of that pot.
Exactly.
You did
1
well.
to 1. We're 1-1 now.
Pre-flop begins with Friedman, who opens the action to 1,200.
Are you gonna fill me in on what the card was?
Middle black.
Oh, okay.
He's right.
It is a standard open, but Cassavetes, sitting in the big blind with ace-king offsuit, makes a crucial decision. Instead of 3-betting to extract value with a premium hand, he decides to trap, underrepresenting his strength.
I guess if you had 2 black cards, you would have probably folded, yeah. I'm gonna put you on red right now.
While this disguises his hand, it also surrenders the initiative to the aggressor. The flop falls a texture that misses both players, but offers Friedman a gut shot straight draw. Friedman, usually aggressive, decides to check back. This check is pivotal. He takes a free card rather than firing a continuation bet. The turn is the jack, the card that ignites the fireworks. It is a disaster for Cassavetes and a miracle for his opponent.
Middle cards, huh? How would you feel if I raised you?
Oh man, I think Pralad thinks he's in a casting session.
We just go make another movie and whatever.
Always
you know?
an
What's the
option
big deal?
for me is to raise. I feel like
You wouldn't be in his next movie, I'll tell you that.
representing the middle cards. How many middle cards can there be? What would I raise it to get him to fold? A 9. 24.
There's some high-level thinking going on over here, Jared. You see that?
Yeah.
Mind of
like
the
you have a
greatest. Spirit rock.
So I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it 8,000.
That Hollywood was worthy of the movie.
I loved it, huh?
Right, Nick?
Yeah, I loved it.
As a director, what did you think of the Hollywood?
I
there?
loved it.
Cassavetes is now in a terrible spot. Against a raise, this should be a fold, but Nick convinces himself that Friedman is making a move. The river is the ace, the ultimate false hope card. It pairs Cassavetes' ace, giving him top pair. In his mind, his hand just went from a bluff catcher to a value hand. He checks, likely intending to call a reasonable bet.
Should I Hollywood more before I bluff? How much does one need to bet?
I have front row seats to this show
8,
for free.
That's
You know?
16. 21K.
Friedman, holding the nuts, decides to go for maximum value. He bets 30,000, an overbet designed to look like a bluff.
I call.
Ouch.
Just the nuts.
Just the nuts.
Good him.
Thanks.
Wow, bro.
Mercier is looking down at 10 deuce suited. Pre-flop. This is Jason doing Jason things.
There's no straddle?
Opening 10 deuce suited from late position in a soft, splashy lineup. It is loose on paper but fine in practice. He has position, deep stacks, and two opponents who are clearly more interested in seeing flops than 3-betting him. La Liberté flatting ace-jack suited is standard. He keeps the pot multi-way with a hand that dominates a lot of Jason's opens. Vulgaris overcalls 5-4, taking the classic, see a cheap flop and try to hit something weird. The flop comes, and Mercier couldn't have asked for better. With 10 deuce, he has flopped a full house on a board that is supposed to be much better for his range than for the callers. He has all the overpairs, big tens and suited junk that connect, while the flats are capped around medium pairs and broadways. When it checks to him, his 2,300 c-bet is completely standard and perfectly sized. It looks like a small, routine bet on a paired board. It keeps in 10x, pocket pairs, and backdoor draws, and it gives plenty of room to barrel. La Liberté's call is where the trouble starts. The turn brings the 6 of spades. Flushes are still possible, but the relative hand strengths have not shifted. Mercier is still sitting on the effective nuts against realistic ranges. When La Liberté checks again, Jason continues his story with 6,200. This sizing keeps his range polarized between trips, boats, and airballs. But from La Liberté's seat, it also looks like a perfectly believable second barrel with overpairs, strong tens, or club draws. Calling again here is ambitious. He now beats only pure bluffs and some random overcards that decided to keep firing. By the river, the pot has swelled to about 21,000, and the Jack of Diamonds peels off, giving La Liberté top pair in the most dangerous way possible. It improves him just enough to pay off, but not enough to actually change where he sits in the hierarchy of hands. After a third check, Mercier goes for 15,700, a very deliberate value sizing.
And he calls.
Doyle Brunson.
And I got my jack at the end. 2 spades. Oh my God. The spades come against him.